are you talking about? The plate is like this big. Look at us.
Look at us.
We're back in the studio.
Both of us are in the studio. I feel complete when you're next to me.
As do I.
There's a hole in my heart when I turn to my left and you're not here.
Yeah. I thought you felt that way.
It's like a piece of me. You could tell. You could tell.
I feel like everything I'm doing is just like screen on screen on screen.
It's all screens all the time.
It's actually nice to have a
in person.
Yeah, in person conversation.
And we're kind of we're
semi-distancing.
Semi-distanced. But
yeah.
We're close.
But we've got a great show for you guys today. We have Coach Tim Walton from the University of Florida. Welcome, Coach. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for having me. That was a great gator chomp. You had the right over left, perfect form. I like it.
Wow, kudos on form.
Right? This is starting off great.
I don't know if you're going to get me to do that, Coach.
I think you were here. You were here before, and so I figured you already had the form down. Spending the weeks that you spent with us in the past.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
You're not chomp? No chomp?
Not quite.
One of our product managers is a Gator fan, and he was wearing a Gator shirt yesterday on our company meeting, and he got some shit for it. There were some Knoll fans there, but at the end of the day, there were some chomps and some love for him too. So I'll throw you the chomp. I have no problem with that.
Great. Thank you.
Well, Coach, I'm sure softball fans across the country are wondering, what is this fall going to look like for the University of Florida? And can you give us the latest updates?
Yeah, it's funny when you've been like this for so long, you start to really accompany the new words like fluid and COVID, corona. I mean, just so many new words in your vocabulary that you didn't even know you had before. So everything is fluid. I think that Commissioner Sankey came out yesterday after the athletic directors in-person meeting in Birmingham and talked about what the potential fall looks like for our fall sports. And what our fall sports do really is going to impact what the spring sports are able to do from a training and preparation standpoint. So as of right now, the University of Florida is beginning all their contact testing and tracing programs. So they're testing everybody that comes in, athlete and staffers. I think we're in our final phase of our testing for all of our full-time staffers. And I think they wanted to be done with that by August 1st. And then all of our athletes, first football, then volleyball, then soccer, and then that goes down to track and women's basketball, men's basketball, and all the other sports. So we don't have any athletes that are on campus right now currently, and we're hoping, I believe, by the end of this month that we'll be able to begin some of our voluntary training. And our school moved back the start of our fall semester to August 31st. They did that quite some time. They've announced that we will then be online after Thanksgiving, and I think they said about 35% of our campus will be open in regards to on-campus activities for the athletes and the students and the classes and the teachers. So every week, every month, it seems like something changes, but it's definitely the people here at the University of Florida. I've grown to appreciate not only the people that I work for, but we have what's called UF Health, which is our on-campus. It's a major hospital, major organization, and they've done a great job of helping us with learning about infectious disease and all the other things that are necessary in for us to be able to play sport again.
So there's speculation that the dead period will be extended until the end of the year. Are those rumors true first? And if so, how's that going to impact your recruiting?
Oh, gosh. I mean, recruiting's been impacted so much so far. I've heard the same speculation. And again, I refer to Greg Sankey a lot because he's been a tremendous leader for the SEC and for college athletics right now. He's just a great voice of reason. And one of the things he talked about in our initial conversations is just, as a leader, just don't get too caught up into rumors. Just try to focus on what's real and what's in front of you. And so I think for us, we're all preparing for that because at the end of the day, we just don't understand, and we don't quite know what's going to be there. Number one importance is the safety and the well-being of our student athletes and our staff, and with that comes the trickle-down effect down to, obviously the JO athletes and the travel organizations and things like that. So for us, I think it's real. Whether or not that's going to extend, I think there's a lot of conversations about it so that you can try to even the playing field, because every state, every county, every school has a different set of of regulations and things that they're going off of. So I do think it's real, but until it actually comes out, I'm really, maybe that's the plan B approach, I guess, as we mentioned a little bit earlier.
Do you see any kind of silver lining to it being pushed back outside of everyone is basically on a level playing field? But in terms of like a student athlete, how could they use this time uh, to to the best of their ability, given the set of circumstances?
Yeah, I think you look at this from let's just talk about the human race. You have to look at yourself first and see, what are you doing to better your situation as a person to your own family and your small inner circle? And so have you done a good job of impacting that group first and foremost? Secondly, you look at this from a student athlete perspective, and you got to say, okay, what have I done? And what am I getting ready to do when I'm allowed to play sport again? Because obviously I'm going to do it because I love it. Something was taken away from me that I had no control over. And so I think you're going to see a higher level of passion playing this game at the collegiate level. And then the final component goes down to the travel kids, to the JO kids. And again, I think it goes back to passion and love. And you shouldn't be playing this game to go to get a scholarship to go play somewhere. You should be playing this game because you love it. And then those that continue to play that at a high level, there's going to be so many different opportunities for you to play. And I think that's the one thing I'm trying to talk to my own kids. I have kids that play sports in high school, and one that's a recruitable age that I talk to him about all the time is that, listen, you can't play for the scouts in the stands. You got to play because you love it. And as you play it, everything works out the way it's supposed to work out. So don't get caught up too much into what so-and-so's doing or what so-and-so's doing over here. Play it the right way, play in the right organization, get the right education, and everything's going to be just fine the way it's supposed to be.
What has your communication with your team been like? Like, what have you and your staff trying to be communicating to your team during, I'm assuming over Zoom calls during a global pandemic when there is so much uncertainty and the thing that they love has been taken away? What has been your message to your team?
Well, first of all, I miss my staff dearly. I have a great group of people that I work with that we haven't had an in-person meeting. My pitching coach, Mike Bosch, and I have seen each other one time in the same room since March 8th. So it's a different dynamic. But from team perspective, when I had to sit down and look my kids in the eyes and tell them that their season was over, and for some you weren't sure if it was going to be their career, that was really, really, really difficult. And so I was very slow into the process of Zoom and getting them acclimated and trying to get them. More of it was more about education. We were just talking about updates and things that are going on. And then we were able to shift gears a little bit and start talking about social injustice and racial inequalities and other things that are important to all human beings, and especially to our players of color. And now we're starting to build team. And we just started about 10 days ago. I sent my athletes 2 books. The first book was read this book tonight to help you win tomorrow. Something I knew nothing about. It was really cool because there's some good quotes and some good things to focus on, taking care of yourself and to build mental toughness. And then we just now started the energy bus. And I think they're important things for our team, just to start to not only build the culture and build the team chemistry, but most of our activities here as of recently have been more player-led with the coach instruction. And I think that's the important dynamics of building a team, is trying to get your seniors. We got more fifth-year seniors this year than I think I've ever coached in my career. And that gap between freshmen and seniors is really, really large. So I really want to try to have my returning players get to know our young new up-and-comers, and have our new young and up-and-comers become more comfortable with the team dynamic and the team standard of the Florida Gators.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of your returners, can you talk about their impact that you're expecting going into the 2021 season, and a little bit more about how you kind of orchestrate a player-led team with the addition of the support of the coaching staff?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, I'm not. This preseason is going to be the most difficult preseason ever because there's going to be so many more things outside of practice that we are going to have to do as leaders. So from the head coaching standpoint, I'm probably going to be head coach, more counselor, and doing a lot of other things that I maybe haven't had to do before. So I think the most important thing is getting our athletes back to campus safely, and then once they get back to campus safely, figure out where they're at athletically. Where are you at? What have you been doing? Because I think the one thing that's going to happen, you're going to see more injuries this fall than you've ever seen if we're able to go, because we haven't been competing, and we've lost thousands of hours in the weight room and on the field to compete. So for me personally, I'm not going to preseason hype any of my players because I don't know what my players are going to look like, what they're going to be like until we get them back. But fortunately for me, I have a Kendall Lindemann back for a fifth year, which three-time All-American. She was just named the Academic All-American of the Year, which is a tremendous honor from a tremendously gifted, talented athlete, but even better person. So I'd like to go ahead and venture to say that I'm very, very lucky to have Kendall Lindemann for a third year with me, and we're gonna benefit that greatly on and off the field. And so with that being said, that transitions into Kendall's role as as a leader, Jamie Hoover's role as a leader, and some of the other girls that we have coming back. Katie Chronister is growing into a leader, and when you start to really process, having players like Jade Caraway, Katie Chronister, Kendall Lindemann, and Jamie Hoover back for their fifth year, you start to see leadership qualities and characteristics that can help younger players along. So I've pitched the idea that we are using Zoom, and Zoom has been a really good resource for us to use. And then we break out into small rooms and groups, and the girls go out and they talk. And the one thing that I've noticed from listening to them is they're talking more, whether it's FaceTime, Snapchat, texting, more now this summer than maybe they have in the past summers with all players, as opposed to just maybe their small groups of players. So that's how we've kind of done our thing. And we meet about once every week. And lately we've been starting to meet more because the reality is, as we're getting closer back to school, and it looks to me that we're going to get our campus back open for our student athletes. So that's definitely some good news for them to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. And perhaps a silver lining there in terms of getting your team to talk more this summer than they have previously. We're trying to find silver linings with all the coaches, and we found one with you guys. I'm going to change topics a little bit. I'm curious. This is kind of my favorite question to ask everybody. Given quarantine and the unprecedented situation that we're in, have you picked up any new hobbies or skills during quarantine?
Well, I found out that myself and my family, we've been quarantining for about 15, 16 years together, I noticed, because it hasn't been that different. I bought a boat in January, and so you buy a boat at the end of January, expect to really start getting some hours on it probably about August. So I bought a brand new boat, and I think it had 1 hour on it. It's got 68 hours on it right now. So that equates to about 330 some miles of shore, of waterway. So I would say that I picked up boating as a hobby, and it's something that I never really ever thought I would be able to do in March and April and May, those times. So I picked up boating. That's something that I have, I really I love it now, obviously, but I'm definitely looking forward to putting the boat back up on the lift and getting out on the field again.
I think that might be my favorite answer to the whole of all the questions. A brand new boat and picking up boating during quarantine sounds like a big win.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been I want to say a lifesaver, because I don't want that's going to sound not going to sound right, but I think ultimately it's definitely been something to look forward to in a time where we haven't had much to look forward to. And I'm not a boat expert, but I've passed my boater safety course, and I've read some other things, and it's definitely something I wouldn't have been able to do outside of quarantine and outside of the coronavirus.
That's awesome. Good
Yeah.
for you. What kind of, did you get a speedboat? pontoon? What'd you get?
Yeah, it's a combination. So it's called a bow rider. So you can do a lot of different things. It's not necessarily a fishing boat, but you could fish. We
Nice.
can ski and wakeboard and tube and just cruise.
That's
So
awesome.
that's been something we've been able to do as a family.
That's awesome.
Awesome, and I'm sure your family is loving that you've taken up boating as well.
Well, I think my players are going to like it because we have I bring my players over to the lake. We bought a house on the lake a few years ago, and I always take our team over there. Typically before the postseason, and then in the preseason, we use it as a team building exercise. So I'm sure my players are actually going to be super excited that we have a new boat that can pull them around on the tube and do some things that we've done in the past. They all seem to really love getting out on the boat and having fun and doing some extra activities. And there are gators in our lakes in Florida, and so it's kind of an extra challenge.
I'm gonna hard pass on
Hard
that one.
pass on that one. Hard pass. But yeah, it sounds like the perfect team bonding, right? Like, hop on a boat, get on a tube together.
Gators don't eat gators, so we're all good.
There you go.
Okay, there we
There it
go.
is.
There we go.
Gators don't eat gators. There's your quote for the show.
There you go.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining us. And we're always so excited to see Florida softball, and we can't wait for you guys to get back on the field.
Yeah, thank you, Chez. Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. I think that out of everything that I've been seeing and everything that we've been watching in the sport of softball, I think that once we get past this and get through this as a country, we're going to all look back on this and say, man, that was the biggest turning point in our careers, and you're going to see a lot of great softball again, and just looking forward to seeing my athletes and getting a chance to work with them and help them get better too. So looking forward to it. Thanks as always for having me, and go
Absolutely.
Gators.
Yep, there it is.
Wow, what a gem.
What a gem.
Technologically savvy.
He is a savvy. He troubleshooted quite a bit here to get himself on here today. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's great. He's great.
Yeah.
Missing softball, missing Florida softball, but sounds promising
Yeah.
down in Gainesville.
They have
So-
a plan in place.
Yeah.
And as soon as we'll get to see them on the field, you guys will be the first to know about it. And yeah.
Chez will break the news for you. She'll be on top of it. Promise.
Well, what's next on Flow?
What is next? Why don't you tell us what's next, Chez?
We've got the PGF Southeastern Regional Championship this weekend. It's starting on Thursday, the 16th. We've got some of the top teams out of the Southeast playing in the PGF Southeastern Regional. It'll be live on Flow. And we'll have rankings coming up. I might take a little break. We're going to take a little break, too, from the show. But you better believe when we come back,
So all the things. So many deals.
we're going to have some really great guests week after week on Here's the Deal. And we're excited to share that with you guys.
And so much salt too. I'll bring the salt.
Yeah, I know. Where's the salt been? Low sodium these days.
Low sodium. Well, low sodium right now.
All right, you guys. We'll see you next time on Here's the Deal.